Transforming your life through hypnotherapy has never been easier. With the help of your host, Julie from coachinghypnosis.net, and these power-packed minisodes, you're sure to find yourself engaging in more positive behaviors around both your physical and mental health. Here's your host, Julie.
G'day, it's Julie from coachinghypnosis.net, and you deserve to know the science behind hypnotherapy because people have had enough of feeling fabulous and being bombarded by woo-woo healers at the same time. And I'm not a therapist or psychotherapist, but this is my 10th year as a clinical hypnotherapist in strategic psychotherapy. I currently help my clients online. They change their life without changing out of their pajamas. And I can only imagine someone like you is a modern-day thinker, progressive in problem solving, and you deserve to step up your game and live up to your true potential. But how does hypnosis work? Well, it's all about the power of suggestion. And I know some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, can't I just ignore the suggestions? Well, that's the thing about hypnosis. It's not a magic trick. It's a state of mind. And when you're in the state of hypnosis, your mind can be open to taking on suggestions. When it comes to hypnotherapy, there are a lot of misconceptions floating around. But the truth is, hypnotherapy is a real and scientifically proven form of therapy. The fact is, hypnosis doesn't have its own distinct biological signature. There is a reason why many hypnotists say the map is not the territory. Hypnotherapy works like you're just in a maze. You're guided through the twists and turns of your mind, and you can discover how to exit the maze. You get to get out of the maze. Hypnotherapy is popular for managing anxiety, sleep, improving memory, quitting smoking, weight loss, and more recently, to my surprise, there's been an interest in people wanting to know more about magic, voodoo, and aliens from the point of view of a hypnotherapist. Hypnotherapy is safe. If you seek out a qualified hypnotherapist, you will get hypnotized on your first session if you seek out a qualified hypnotherapist. But to get results, it can take 1 to 8 sessions. And I can only imagine someone like you is all sciencey. You are hands down way smarter than me. You are a fact-seeking individual who likes quality information. You probably have an IQ of 130 plus. And you deserve to live the best life ever. And as great as hypnotherapy is, as you already know, it doesn't have its own distinct biological frequency. It's not that different to vegging out on the couch or watching TV. So don't fall for all those gadgets, like those electrodes that claim to measure alpha, beta, delta. In fact, what most people love about organic clinical hypnotherapy is it's free from technology like mobile phones, artificial intelligence, and whatever bad negativity vibes that might be lurking around. And what happens in the state of mind of hypnosis is the unconscious processing of language can experience change from surface structure to deep structure, from ill-formed grammar to well-formed grammar. For example, the Prime Minister was consumed by tapeworm. To who or what specifically do you mean by the Prime Minister was consumed by tapeworm? And it's fabulous for tidying up any deleted or distorted language. Hypnosis can also assist you clean up your map of the world. Most clients have a highly valued representational system. Understanding the formalization of those patterns, you begin to realize a person can hear a word. That's an input of information. The word can trigger the person to make a picture in their mind and finally express it by pounding their fist into an output channel. All of these processes can be cleaned up in the state of mind of hypnosis. To get slightly technical, your dominant and non-dominant hemisphere of the brain all like doing things they're good at. And in hypnosis, both sides of your brain can be influenced depending on the talent of the hypnotist. For example, a hypnotist can talk in ungrammatical fragments to access a client's non-dominant hemisphere, typically a right hemisphere function, followed by well-formed grammar to access their dominant hemisphere, typically a left hemisphere function. You can check out Richard Bandler on YouTube with his video, Welcome to Reality, or read any of his books on the structure of magic if you want to know more. People who use hypnosis for medical, dental, or psychotherapeutic purposes seem to understand that we human beings don't operate directly upon the world, but rather we operate through a map of what we believe the world to be. An example of the map is not the territory would be, imagine if an obese person thinks they can lose weight just by exercising and sweating it out. Apart from it not being possible, and you would end up with a lot of pimples and rashes and it would smell really bad, this person's map of the world needs to change. Or to put it literally, all Russia's Putin thinks about is a giant slice of pizza. While Russia is vast and the map of Russia is 6 million square miles, 11 time zones, is the largest country in the world. The slice of territory without mountains or vast frozen ice or mosquito-drenched mud plains in the heat of melting snow is like a slice of precious pizza. It's a large, flat plain of land in the shape of a slice of pizza. It's like a giant corridor to Moscow. The tip of the pizza starts in Poland, and by the time the slice of pizza reaches the Russian border, it's over 2,000 miles wide. The territory of Russia has never been conquered by that direction, because by the time any army would reach Moscow, it would have unsustainably long supply lines. As you know, no one's intending to invade Russia, but that's not how the Russians see it. In the past 500 years, they've been invaded by the Poles in 1605, the Swedes in 1708, the French in 1812, the Germans in 1914, and in 1941. And if you include the Crimea War, the Russians on average have been fighting a war every 33 years. NATO has been formed to prevent Soviet aggression, along with the Warsaw Pact. Russia is a prisoner of its geography, and it always will be. The map is not the territory. And if you like hearing about prisoners of geography, you can read the book by Tim Marshall. There are no prisoners in hypnosis. Hypnosis is a natural state of mind that we all experience on a daily basis. Hypnosis feels like when your alarm clock goes off in the morning and all you want to do is stay in bed all day, because sometimes lying in bed all day feels fabulous. During a hypnotherapy session, a hypnotist will guide you into a state of hypnosis, then make suggestions that are designed to help you achieve your goals. Hypnosis is fabulous for managing IBS, weight loss, anxiety, insomnia, smoking cessation, athletic enhancement, OCD, eczema, phobias, chronic pain relief, low self-esteem, improving memory, improving your ability to achieve your goals. And you deserve to feel fabulous because you are fabulous. And you might be thinking, why seek out a qualified hypnotherapist? Aren't they all the same? We're all different. I'm not qualified in hypnobirthing. Do you really want me not knowing what I'm doing when your child's born? Probably not. If you have a serious issue, you want someone who's serious about getting you better. But let's get to the point. How long until you see a result? If you decide to become a consumer of hypnosis, I don't know if you've ever finally given up smoking, then it takes you another few months to get yourself to the gym. Or if you've finally gotten over panic attacks, but it takes you another year before you take on public speaking. Achieving those outcomes by yourself is reasonable. But with the assistance of a hypnotist, you can tackle several hiccups that are holding you back within 1 to 8 sessions. I offer a 12-week program with 12 sessions so you can achieve all those things you've dreamt of achieving. But here is one for you to test out yourself. It's a script called Creating a Powerful Memory. The secret to a powerful memory is emotion. Think back to a time when you were just a child, perhaps 5 or 6 years old. Think about what happened. Was it happy, exciting, delightful? Now think back to a time when you were 10 or 12. Think of an incident when you were a teenager. Did you notice on any of these occasions if there was an emotion attached to it? Although you may have some memories of vacuuming your house or eating a bowl of cereal or tying up your shoes, unless it's one of those situations where you had emotional attachment, it's unlikely that your conscious memory was drawn to them. On the other hand, you might be able to recall a time when you first tied your shoes, or you're learning to tie them, or you might remember eating a bowl of cereal if you discovered it became infested with insects, or you might recall the unbridled joy of cleaning a house in preparation for a visit by someone important in your life. Memory is stimulated, underlined, and expanded by emotion. Now, how can we inject emotion into the things you are studying now? Well, let's examine the world of professional student, those in high school or college. Do you recall any particular subjects which you truly enjoyed? It instilled you with a hunger to want to know more? Can you think of other subjects where the whole sections of the lecture vanished from your memory as you faded in and out? Let's pretend that history was a boring subject for you, and because of the boredom, information was deflected from your memory. Now let's imagine that a close relative was the instructor of the class, and you have seen him agonize over the preparation of the lesson. His hands trembled when he spoke, his heart was in his throat. And so he loved the topic he cared for so much that this part of history couldn't be forgotten, even if he had passed away. His hands trembled when he spoke, his heart was in his throat, but he loved the topic so much and cared for this particular part in history. And as a close relative, he's asked you to be there for him so that he could see at least one pair of what he called kind eyes out there in the audience. So out of compassion, you show up for him, you sit there carefully. So would you now laugh at his jokes? Once or twice actually heard him say something of value. Or let's say you really found political science to be a crushing bore, but one of the assignments you were asked to report on some pompous politician's speech. But before you went to hear it, you discover that this bureaucrat was trying to persuade voters to stop feeding the children school lunches. He was a most persuasive fellow, but you knew that for many children, the school lunch was the only decent meal they received. So you found yourself angry at his cheap tricks and double talking style, and found yourself prepared to take notes and challenge and expose this man for the sort of man that he really is. Perhaps now you're thinking that you can see how these types of emotions could get you to remember some facts and figures, but are wondering how they could be used to help you remember your lessons, the names of people, new facts and figures. Have you ever opened a magazine to a full-colour photograph of roast turkey, steam rising off it, mashed potato, gravy to one side, perhaps cranberry sauce, or dessert or the other? Your mouth salivated and you said to yourself, "That surely looks delicious. I'd like some of that right now." All of this occurred without the presence of turkey. For any food at all, your mouth salivated, your stomach rumbled. Even though there was no food, you knew that if you licked that page, it would taste like paper and ink. Not the tasty food you were dreaming about. Why? How is it that your body acts as if there is roast turkey present when there clearly isn't one? Because your body can't tell the difference between real roast turkey and a mental recreation of one. If you watch a horror film and your muscles tense and your heart beats faster and your digestion shuts down, your adrenals work overtime and your respiration becomes shorter, and your body's been tricked into recreating an emotional response to an event which was only portrayed. I couldn't tell the difference between real danger and a motion picture creation. If you've ever laughed or cried or been genuinely moved by a motion picture, you'll know the secret impact of memory. Did you see the original Star Wars motion picture? You only saw that movie for 2 hours, over 30 years ago. Now, how can we use this awesome memory power right now? Pick a topic or body of information or groups of names or even one individual, the name of someone you met at a party or business event. You choose. Now see yourself in a situation where you want to memorize all the information at hand. Next, create a fantasy. Yes, a plain old daydream, but one in which it is imperative that you know this information. The more emotionally charged, the better. For example, you see yourself in a room where the door is locked, and each hour guards will enter and ask you questions based on your previous hour's study. If you can answer the questions, they'll free a precious child from captivity. If you can't answer, the child goes to the end of a line. Or a millionaire makes a bet with you. He will feed 1,000 hungry children for a year if you can just answer 3 questions based on the information you're trying to memorize. But instead of my creating an emotionally charged reason for you, you create one. Why would such an outlandish idea work? Because your body can't tell the difference between a real roast turkey and a picture of one. Your memory can't tell the difference between a manufactured emotion and a genuine one. but it does remember the information that's glued to the emotion. I will grow silent now so you can create 3 powerful emotional scenes to use for your memory program. Let's make them as real as possible, and remember, positive emotions serve your body better. It's the intensity of them that makes them real and tangible. Once you have your memory enhancers deeply implanted into your inner conscious mind, simply open your eyes. So what if you thought about the science behind hypnotherapy differently? And what if you didn't? The choice is yours.